Alright, coming in at number 8 is Midway. This film actually came out in 2019 in some countries, but in New Zealand it came out in 2020. This stars Ed Skrein and Woody Harrelson. I thought it had a very good, strong story and a plot, and it kept you intrigued the entire film. Basically, it's an army film about America versus Japan. I think it was based off a true story. It kept at a good pace. I feel like it led to some good action scenes. It made you kind of like want to keep watching it. I mean, the cast was very good as well. They chose a very good cast. Had some very big actors in this film, but the only reason it's 8th is because it's not a film I would particularly watch. Like, it wasn't on my radar to watch, but it still was a very good film. The only reason it's ranked 8 is because I did enjoy some films more than it. I mean, Woody Harrelson did his job with the acting, same as Ed Skrein. Nick Jonas was in it. The guy who played Ocean Master from Aquaman, I don't know his actor name. He was in it. But overall, it was a pretty good film. It was a very good army film, and I think you should watch it if you haven't already, because it's definitely a film worth checking out. Coming in at number 7 is My Spy, starring Dave Bautista and Christian Skull. If you guys don't know who that is, Dave Bautista, Guardians Galaxy man, Drax. Christian Skull, she was famous. I mean, it could have been something else, but Flight of the Conchords is how I knew her. Basically, this film was an enjoyable PG film. It was the only family film, like PG family type film I'd watched this year, I guess. I mean, it had a very good story. I thought scenes were quite good. Dave Bautista is actually very good at doing comedy. I thought it was enjoyable enough to go ahead and watch. Basically, it's about some spies who have to look after a family from this criminal, because he's trying to hunt them down. They're the FBI. And then when the daughter finds out that they are watching them, she says she'll keep it private if they teach you how to be a spy. This film had a story that was solid enough, but one bit that let this film down was cringy moments. For example, they had these dance scenes where, you know, they hear who's doing Fortnite dances. It wasn't enjoyable, that part. Also, to mention that there were these scenes where she was like, oh, let's turn around for an explosion. Especially I'd just turn around and then boom, an explosion would happen behind them without them looking back. That scene seemed stupid, but the story was good enough, and I feel like it's a good family film to watch. You should check it out. I'm sure people would enjoy it. Kids would enjoy it. But not the best film I saw this year. It'd probably get like a 7 for me. And it's ironic because it's rated 7. I mean, it's 7 on the list. But it's an alright film, and you should go check it out if it's on. But yeah. Alright, coming in at number 6 is Wonder Woman 1984. Starring Gal Gadot and Christian Wiig and Pedro Pascal. I'm pretty sure that's his name. This film actually was like my second favourite film this year after I'd watched it in the night. But as I started to think about it a bit more, it slowly just went from very good to just goofy. This film was very fun, and the characters that they used were in it were very good. Yeah, Wonder Woman back again. The first one was very good, and I had high hopes for this film, but it just didn't deliver what the last one did. I feel like they tried to make it too goofy, and I feel like the way that they brought back Steve Trevor, I'm guessing people loved Chris Pine in the film because they brought him back. The way they brought his character back was just so bad, man. Like, honestly, if you guys don't know, obviously this whole thing, oh, fine, I should have put spoilers. I should have said spoilers ahead in the beginning. Oh, I'll put a sign. I'm sure you'd be able to tell. There were some very good characters. I was pretty pumped that they were bringing Cheetah into the role, and Christian Wiig definitely delivered such a Christian Wiig. She definitely delivered the Cheetah role very well, but I feel like the way they CGI'd the Cheetah at the end just didn't seem right. I feel like, because you know a lot of films, they always don't listen to what the comic book has done. Like, for example, Star-Lord's uniform, I'm sure that wasn't what was in the comics. There's a lot of different stories from all these different characters. But Cheetah, they did try and make her look like a cheetah, but it just it didn't work. She looked like one of those characters from Cats. Seriously. Might have even been a little bit... Actually, no, it wasn't worse. Cats is the worst. 100%. Back to Steve Trevor's story. The way they brought him back was bringing him into another guy's body. Because they had this wishing stone, and Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, wished for him to come back. And he came back into another person's body. So basically, she basically just did another guy without him even noticing. It was just a weird way to bring him back. They could have easily just brought the character back, not into another person's body. That was just the worst way to do it. But I feel like it was unnecessary how they did that. But this film was fun and it was enjoyable. Pedro Pascal was a very enjoyable character. The wishing part could have been so much better for this film. The way Kristen Wiig wished, the way Cheetah wished to become her, she actually wished to be as strong and as good as Diana. But that was just silly, because in the comics she gets cut by something and she becomes a cheetah. In this one she just wishes to become that. And then she goes, I wish to become an apex predator. And that's how she turns into Cheetah. Overall, not a particularly good film. The story could have been so much better. Honestly, the ending just ended up being really dramatic. But it was very entertaining, and that's why it's 6. It is a very entertaining film. That is the reason it has been put at 6. And it's the best comic film I saw of the year. But yeah, it was good, and you should check it out if it's on. Right, coming in at number 5 is The Invisible Man. This was the only horror film I saw of the year. I'm pretty sure. Wait. I guess The New Mutants is kind of a horror movie if you think about it. The Invisible Man, starring Elizabeth Moss and Aldous Hodge. The story was very good. I thought the story was definitely intriguing. The plot was just very intriguing. And I thought it was a very good horror film. Like, the way they had suspense going up. The way the Invisible Man... Because if you don't know what it is, basically, it's an obsessive guy hunts down his girlfriend after she breaks up with him. He fakes his death, but uses an invisible suit to just ruin her life. I thought the way they did this story was very good. The characters were very good. Her and the main ones were all somehow glued together to make a very good story. I thought certain scenes were unexpected, but this film was honestly amazing. And the way that the brother ended up being in the suit, but ended up, the main guy ended up being bad as well. I thought the way they just plotted this film was amazing. Everything about it just seemed to work. And it would be higher on my list, but I'm not a big horror film guy. But this one was very good in particular. And also the ending, I thought it was a very good ending. She finally got what she deserved in a good way. And she finally got to kill the guy, the main bad guy. And yeah, this film was just really good, and it's definitely a film you should go check out. If you're not a horror film guy, go check this out, because chances are it might make you want to watch horror films. Right, coming in at number 4 is Just Mercy. This film came out in 2019, just like Midway, but in New Zealand it came out in January 2020. This film stars Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx. This was based off a true story, and I thought it was a very good story. The way they plotted this was very good, and it makes you just... Because this was basically about a guy who went back to his old town to try and help folks get out of the death sentence. I thought this film was very sad, but it keeps you intrigued. Honestly, Michael B. Jordan did amazing in this film, as well as Jamie Foxx. The story was solid, and it keeps you intrigued the entire film. Whoever casted this was definitely casted the right people. The way Michael B. Jordan had to work his way up to finally getting Jamie Foxx freed from the death sentence was very good. And the ending was great. I thought everything about this film was just good. It just shows... It was basically... What made it harder in this film for Michael B. Jordan to get people off the death sentence was that the town that they were in was racist. They were against, the black people. But Michael B. Jordan did very well to portray the lawyer who did this in real life. and this film was very good. It's definitely a film you should go check out. It's I'm not really a big fan of films that, you know, I like about lawyers and stuff, but this one in particular I really loved. I thought this was an amazing film, and you've got to go check it out. It is worth seeing. Okay, coming in at number 3, we're at the top 3. Finally! This video is really long. Well, it might not be long when I edit it, but anyway. Bad Boys for Life. This film is basically the 3rd film into the franchise after about 20 years, I believe. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence returned back. It took many years for them to bring back this series, but in the wait, they ended up bringing back the 3rd and best installment into the series. The characters of course the main 2 were very good, and the add-ons of these new characters were interesting and unique. I think the add-on of the squad they had to work with, I can't remember the name of it, it's been a while since I watched it. And I feel like the villains were also very good. I feel like the story was a new take, but it introduced a very new way. Obviously, there were funny jokes that were just through the whole movie. There were unexpected moments that you just didn't see coming. And of course, the action scenes just stepped it up another notch. Martin Lawrence was the more comedic side, while Will Smith, I guess, was trying to be the more action side. But obviously, these two work very well together, and it showed through this film. And I hope this film does get a 4th into the series, because they left us on a cliffhanger. Will Smith, the villain he ended up fighting was his former wife, or girlfriend, and they had a son. So now he has a son, and it left in the end credits that they're going to be working together by the looks of it. This film is very good, and it's definitely the best Bad Boys for Life film out of the 3, and it's definitely an enjoyable film. Alright, coming in at number 2 is Tenet. John David Washington and Robert Pattinson star in this film. This was the most confusing film I saw of the year. If you look away or go to the bathroom during cinema at one point in this film, you're gonna get lost, because chances are the film's just completely changed and it's just different and you're like, what is happening? But this film is one of a kind. It is unique, and I have never seen something like it. I'm sure it's similar to Inception, because Christopher Nolan, very good director actually. I enjoy quite a lot of his films. He makes some very unique films, and this had a very good story, and it was just unique. The story connects in a very good way, and it's quite unexpected. It was strong acting, and it was all separate moments of this film, but it all somehow just works together. I thought it was very enjoyable, and there was just nothing like it. I mean, basically they have to try and prevent World War III. He's the protagonist, John David Washington, and everything's basically in reverse. This was very different to films I see, but it keeps you intrigued and you don't really want to look away. The action sequences are just reversing the entire time. In fact, the entire final scene is just normal people versus the reverse type. It's just all random, but it somehow all pulls together and just works really well. But this is definitely a film to check out. You have to check this film out. There's no doubt about it. You may think, how did this not become number 1? But it was very good. Now let's get on to number 1. Coming in at number 1 is Greenland, starring Gerard Butler and Morena Baccarin. Gerard Butler, famous for his Olympus Has Fallen type films, Has Fallen series. I love that series though. And Morena Baccarin, Deadpool's girlfriend, Vanessa. And this film probably wasn't the right year for it to come out, was it? And then them releasing this disaster film, I'm sure people were like, oh, why would you release this on a year like this? But you can't plan for it. But this ended up being my favourite film of 2020. It was intriguing and a real thriller of a film. We got some good little action sequences that happened. And I quite like disaster films. I quite enjoyed films like San Andreas and The Impossible. I quite enjoy those films. They're quite interesting and quite sad in a way. But this film was very good. I feel like the story was amazing. And it's definitely worth seeing. and it's definitely a thriller. Honestly, there's different stories where they basically split up because it's about a comet that's about to crash on Earth and prevent an extinction level event. They have to get to these bunkers in Greenland, and basically during the film they end up getting split up, and there was some very good acting in this film. Honestly, it was very enjoyable. Not to mention, have to give a big mention to King Batch, who had a small scene in this film, but got a scene. Didn't think I'd see King Batch in this film, but honestly, this is a very good film. The story started very good. It keeps you like intrigued, and it makes you kind of just kind of freak out because of this film. But honestly, it's definitely a very good film. I couldn't see any plot holes from this film. I mean, generally, if you'd kind of just be like, oh, why? Because there were certain scenes that just prevented them from being safe a lot earlier. But this ended up leading to a very good film, and everything about it just seemed very good and solid. And honestly, it's a film worth watching. Go see it. It's a very good film. Alright, that was the list I have done. Those are my 13 films. If you guys have any different opinions, please leave in the comments down below. I will check them out. And, yeah, make sure to leave your favourite film of 2020. Might as well. Also, if you haven't hit it, hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, comment, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And see ya.